So let's continue the topic ahead with the connection of corpus striatum, and in some textbook it is given striatum. So already I have explained you what is striatum, what is corpus striatum. Striatum, if you are talking about the striatum, means you are talking about the caudate nucleus and putamen. And if you are talking about the corpus striatum, means you are talking about the caudate nucleus and lentiform nucleus. So here what we see, it's a caudate putamen with this globus pallidus. So it means we are talking about the caudate nucleus as well as this lentiform nucleus. So it's a correct word is the connection of corpus striatum. So this is much more correct word. We study this connection as a afferent fiber and efferent fibers, or we can say we study this connection as a direct or indirect pathway. Clear? Now in this afferent fiber we will see this corticostrial fiber, we will talk about this thalamostrial fiber, we will see the nigrostrial fiber, and in this efferent fibers we see this striopallidal fibers and strio-nigral fibers, whereas this brain stem strial fiber is not much important for you, but you can see, I will show you this brain stem strial. So we will see this connection here with in a different color. I will show you the color for which I am making this afferent fiber for the corticostrial fibers. So each will have a different color, so it will be easier for you to understand this complex pathway. Though the image what I am having here is one of the easiest image to learn the connection of the corpus striatum. So let's see. So we can see the cortex here of the frontal lobe. Similarly, you can see the fibers here from the cortex of the temporal and parietal lobe. And already I have explained you the anatomical location of the internal capsule as well as external capsule. In this corticostriatal, here this corticostriatal fibers is run from the cortex to striatum, and you know the striatum means caudate nucleus and putamen. So you can see the fibers connection. The fibers in this corticostriatals comes from the ipsilateral side of this cortex, and you can see they are coming from the ipsilateral side and they are going to the striatum means caudate nucleus and putamen. This is from the internal capsule, as well as this part comes from the external capsule. So both from internal and external capsule, this corticostriatal fibers come from the cortex to the striatum. So this is corticostriatal connection. In thalamostriatal connection, fibers from this thalamus will go to the striatum. We can see this from thalamus to the striatum. In this nigrostriatal connection, the fibers comes from, can see here is the substantia nigra, and in the substantia nigra, this part of the substantia nigra is pars compacta. This is what? Pars compacta. So this arises from here and ascend and terminate. You can see this ascend and terminate here in the striatum. This is nigrostriatal connection. In brainstem striatal connection, we can see the fibers from the brainstems come to the striatum. So all these afferent fibers, they are giving input to striatum, means caudate nucleus and putamen here. Finally output have to go through this striatopallidial fibers and striatonigral. So we will first see the striatonigral, then we'll see the striatopallidial. See here, this is the striatonigral. So from information from here in this striatum comes to the substantia nigra. In the substantia nigra, which part of the substantia nigra? In the pars reticularis. In the pars reticularis part of the substantia nigra, then it will go to this striatum. Then from the striatum through the striatopallidial fiber, the information will go to the globus pallidus. In the globus pallidus, as you know, it has a two part. One is a globus pallidus internus, one is globus pallidus externus. So the information will go this way to externus as well as to internus. What the information goes to the externus, that information will pass on to subthalamic nucleus. Now subthalamic nucleus will refine all that information and send that information to the globus. This globus here, pallidus part, internus part here. Now from the internus, now finally the information have to pass to the thalamus. Clear? So the information from this globus pallidus internus pass through this internal capsule. So here is the internal capsule. Let me draw in a different color. So here this is the internal capsule. Now it enters to the thalamus, and this fiber which passes through this internal capsule this way is known as fasciculus lenticularis. And the information that have to pass through the posterior limb of internal capsule is known as ansa lenticularis. So this information comes into the ventrolateral and ventroanterior nuclei of the thalamus. Finally, from this here it will go to the cortex in Brodmann's area number 4 and 6. Please be focused. Now your goals start here. So already I have explained you that Brodmann's area 4, this number 4, it is responsible for your voluntary motor activity of the other side. Clear? And the area number 6 is responsible for the planning, that is the programming of your voluntary activity. So say suppose I want to take a glass of water and I want to drink. So when I take this glass of water and I bring it closer to my mouth, so the movement of my hand is brought about by this Brodmann's area number 4, which is in the cerebral cortex, and Brodmann's area number 6 is doing the planning how precisely I have to move the hand, how much speed, at what speed I have to move my hand. So this is governed by the Brodmann number 6. So information in this area number 4 and 6 in the cerebral cortex is go to this striatum, and this in the striatum it goes to this globus pallidus, and then it comes to the thalamus. Okay, this way it function. Okay, so the information here in the cerebral cortex is coming this way, this way, this way. So someone might of you be thinking, what is the use of this thalamus? What is the use of this thalamus here? It can be possible that that information, instead of going to thalamus, go directly to this cortex. What is the use of this thalamus? Actually, let me clear you. The thalamus is here because, see, as already I have explained you earlier, the tracts, the ascending tract and the times of ascending tract, the information, the sensory input from your proprioception. So these proprioceptions come to the thalamus, then goes to the So this here the information of proprioception which is present in the thalamus. So the information which is coming from this globus pallidus, so it interact here in the thalamus. Then it goes to the Brodmann's area number 4 and 6 in the cortex. What is the function of the basal ganglia? The basal ganglia has following function. First, as I have explained you during the connection, so it is responsible for planning and programming of voluntary movement and determining the speed and the length of the movement, as well as it decreases the muscle tone and stop unwanted muscular activity. Simultaneously, it's control the automatic associated movement. Example, when we are walking, as we are walking, we see that our upper limbs, our hand, they automatically swings. Clear? So it's controlled an automatic associated movement, and the movement associated with the emotional expressions. It also controls the reflex of muscular activity. Three important clinical we see in our practice related to basal ganglia are Parkinsonism, chorea and athetosis. In this, the lesion result in various form of unwanted involuntary movement and disturbance in the muscle tone. First, we talk about this Parkinsonism. It usually occurs after 50 years of age due to the deficiency of neurotransmitter dopamine. As I have explained you earlier, this dopamine is formed in this substantia nigra and taken by the axons in the substantia nigra. So if this substantia nigra fail to make this dopamine, or some disturbance in the connection with the substantia nigra, will result into this Parkinsonism. So in the case of Parkinsonism, a patient result in a resting tremor. See some important feature. Be focused. See, resting tremor is an important feature. Here the patient complains with resting tremors with mask-like face. So there will be no any expression in the face. This pin rolling tremors of hand and stiff shuffling gait. Clear? These are the important features of Parkinsonism, and this is often asked during the Viva and MCQ. Next is the chorea. Chorea, it is characterized by the quick, jerky, irregular, purposeless, involuntary movements, especially we see in the tongue, we see in the face and limbs. Clear? Last is the athetosis. So in this athetosis, it is the writhing movement, and this writhing movement is also known as this athetoid movement. This athetoid movement. Clear? So in this, what we see that the finger or toe, they have much higher movement, much higher movement when we compare with the muscles which are associated with the proximal muscle which are associated with this finger and the toe. So compared to that, here we see much higher movement. This is known as athetosis. So this how we finishes complete lecture over the basal ganglia. I hope you understood well. Please do your comments in the comment box, and if you have some more and valuable information, kindly share your information. Thank you for watching. Have a good luck.